If you guys didn't know, Snoop Dogg announced he was giving up smoke. And I told you guys what I thought it was, right? I told you guys that this was going to be something that was probably some sort of marketing campaign. If my spidey senses were tingling and my discernment was accurate, I bet you Give Up Smoke is an announcement for some sort of new album or new song, and it's some sort of clever marketing ploy. So let's see what Snoop says exactly.
I'm giving up smoke. I know what you're thinking. Snoop, smoke is kind of your whole thing. But I'm done with it. Done with the coughing and my clothes smelling all sticky icky. I'm going smokeless. Solo stove fix fire. They took out the smoke. Clever.
Oh, man. This is so funny. From one standpoint, I think it's funny that so many people got duped, right? I think it's funny that so many people got duped because people were really jumping out the window and saying that Snoop, this is it. Welcome to sobriety. We even had people in our chat that were creating theories on what condition he could have had and so on and so forth. From another standpoint, I told you guys, like, this is because he said giving up smoke. He didn't say giving up weed or giving up smoking weed or giving up cannabis. He said that he gave up smoke. And so this thing is a smokeless solo stove. Is this like a, what is this? Is this like an outside fire pit? Yeah, it looks like an outdoor fire pit. Yeah, it looks like an outside fire pit where you can like kind of cook on it, but there's no smoke. I see smoke there though. I don't understand how this works. Extremely funny. Internet wins again. Whoever came up with this thought it was a good idea to do this as a marketing play. Now, again, people really thought this was going to be something he was going to give up, and I think most of us knew that he wasn't going to give up. My question to you guys is, do you guys think that this was all done and good and fun, or do you think this was a bit deceptive to get this trending, to get everybody excited about it, to get everybody talking about it, to get everybody fired up about it and believing that Snoop is turning a new leaf? Or was this all in good and fun? I would like to hear from you guys. But this is what I will say. I will say that brand deals like this, I don't think are a good look for someone like Snoop. This is why we don't do brand deals on this channel, right? This is why we don't do brand deals on this channel. Because I don't ever want to feel like I'm trying to manipulate the audience or just get to the bag, right? And Snoop's great at getting to the bag. But a conversation like this gets everybody talking, gets everybody trending and thinking like, oh, he's making these turns, yada, yada, yada. So from one standpoint, it's good marketing. It was trending everywhere. This was a huge thing, right? And then it's kind of like, oh, it's funny, but it started stirring the conversation about cannabis. What if this comes back to bite him and he does potentially develop some sort of condition that does prevent him from having to smoke, right? Because he's 50. Is he going to continue smoking weed at this pace at 60? I don't know. I don't know if the human lungs are built to consume that much cannabis smoke, right? So it was almost like he was toying with the idea of sobriety, or seemingly. Now, to be fair to him, he was very specific with giving up smoke. And people were like, oh, he's taking edibles, yada, yada. Now, again, I called it. I told you guys, this is some sort of marketing campaign. I thought it was a new song, so I was wrong about that, but I was close, if you will, right? So that's my first question to you guys. Do you guys think this is deceptive? 2, do you guys think that this is going to come back to bite him? Playing with sobriety, playing with, hey, I'm going to pretend to give up smoke, playing with these sorts of things. Yeah, someone came up with that. I think Snoop kind of ran with it. As a follower of Jesus, I wouldn't want to be a part of a campaign like this. And this is why we don't do brand deals. This is why we don't do brand deals. Because, 1, I don't want to put products in front of you guys. 2, I'd rather create products that help solve your guys' problems because I actually hear you guys. And that's why we have stuff like our prayer journal, Bless God Prayer Journal, solving an actual problem I solved for myself first, which was, how do I get more consistent in my prayer time? How do I get more consistent in my devotional and quiet time? Writing down my prayers, having prompts, and having a way that keeps me accountable to reading and praying every day, but also to writing down my prayers so that I can, in hindsight, remember. So those of you guys that wonder, why do you guys have Patreon? Why do you guys have products like prayer journals. Why do you guys have merch? It's because I don't want to do brand deals. It's because we don't want to do this sort of stuff, right? Because it just feels sticky icky, pun intended. It just feels kind of, yeah, just kind of feels like that. We've never done a brand deal on this channel, and we've been offered quite a bit. Never done a brand deal for anything because we rather just go direct to you guys. You know what I mean? Go direct to you guys. And ultimately, I think it helps us listen to you guys and figure out what trouble do people have. Prayer is an issue that many people struggle with, consistently praying. Also maintaining faith, because when you pray, a lot of times God does answer our prayers. We forget that God answers our prayers, and then we just go on through the rest of our life. And when you write it down, it literally stores it somewhere else, and it documents it so that when you go back in hindsight, you go, oh, that's dope. Working on a devotional, Proverbs devotional, if you guys didn't know. So every day, based on the day of the month it is, there'll be a verse from that chapter of Proverbs, and then tying it into something Jesus said with the Hebrew and the Greek. Again, as a way to help people get in the word, which is ultimately a problem many Christians have. Hey, let me show you a secret. 25% off the entire Bless God shop through Sunday night when you use this code right here. That means you can get 25% off our prayer journals, which have never been on sale like this before. And we did something extra special. We brought back the He Is Him collection, as well as the Priest Provider collection. And when you pick up some Bless God merch, when you pick up some He Is Him merch, when you pick up some Priest Provider Protector merch, what you're doing when you're putting it on, you are reminding yourself daily what you're representing when you go out into your day. So bless God, remembering to live a life that brings blessing to God and isn't just chasing blessings from God. The Priest Provider Protector line, remembering what it means to be someone that is the priest of your home, the protector of your home, and the provider of your home. And of course, the He Is Him, pointing people to Jesus and reminding them that ultimately, regardless of what the world says, He is Him. Don't snooze this time. Don't play yourself. Go to blessgod.shop. Use this code right now to get 25% off through Sunday night. I'll see you over there. When I am positioned with fleecing out what we're doing here for the sake of a bag versus let me actually be creative and figure out how can we develop products for people to help them go deeper in their faith, to help them live a life that ultimately blesses God. Instead of wanting a blessing from God and wanting God to always bless you and give you something, what if we lived our life in a way that blesses God, right? And the verse that inspires this entire mindset. This is from Luke chapter 2. This is Simeon having an encounter with baby Jesus. And he says, then he took him up in his arms and blessed God and said, Lord, now lettest thou thy servant depart in peace. I'm not going to lie to you. The KJV is going hard right now. According to thy word, for mine eyes have seen thy salvation, which thou hast prepared before the face of all people, a light to lighten the Gentiles and the glory of thy people Israel. That's what bless God means. Those of you guys are like, what does it mean to bless God? It means to live your life in a way that blesses God, inspired by this verse as well. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service, and do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is good and acceptable in the perfect will of God. What I love about this passage is that we are encouraged to present our bodies as a living sacrifice, right? Present our bodies as a living sacrifice, which is acceptable to God, and our reasonable service, right? Our reasonable service. If we go to, dear brothers and sisters, I plead with you to give your bodies to God because of all He has done for you. Let them be a living and holy sacrifice, the kind He will find acceptable. This is truly the way to worship Him. Our worship is connected directly to how our bodies are offered up to God, right? Offering your bodies as a living sacrifice is worship, not music, not the first 30 minutes of your church Sunday service. It's how you offer yourself up to God, right? And so oftentimes, again, we want the blessing from God without willing to offer ourselves up to God and to live a life that is a blessing to God, to bless God with our lifestyle. And how do we do that? Well, the next verse, I think, tells us how. Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. Don't copy the world. Don't do that. But let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. So much of what we do and how we behave is connected to the way we think. You got to let God transform that part. You got to let God transform that part. And I believe in Snoop's case that God could have transformed the way Snoop thought about cannabis and the way he thought about his own body and abusing it with smoke, right? But instead, he kind of used it as a marketing ploy. So changing the way you think into a new, changing you into a new person by changing the way you think, by not being conformed to the ways of the world, then you will learn God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. So many of us want to know about what is God's will for my life? What is God's will for? What does God want me to do? What's God's purpose for me? What is my purpose for life? Why am I created, right? And I think sometimes we, instead of asking what is my purpose, we should be asking what is God's purpose for my life? What is God's will for my life? What is God's dream for my life? What is God's desire for me, right? If we can be aligned with that, then goodness gracious, man, sky is the limit. You can really, 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 really walk in the fullness of what God has for you. Really walk in the fullness of what God has for you instead of just kind of skating by, right? But it starts with these types of passages. It starts with getting aligned, laying down your life, laying down your mentality, laying down your thoughts, your ways of doing things, and getting aligned with God's ways of doing things and letting God transform you into a new person. Hey, shh, come here. Got something special for you. 25% off the entire Bless God shop, including our prayer journal. Some of you guys have been procrastinating getting yourself one of these and investing in your spiritual discipline of growing in prayer. We got it in black, we got it in tan. Well, this is the weekend. Get one for yourself, get one for your loved one. Start writing in your prayer journals to better recall the things you're praying for that God is answering, and to structure your devotional in a way where you have praise reports and prayer requests, you got prayers for other people, you have prayers for yourself, a memory verse, and a little hack in terms of what you're gonna get done today. Bless God shop, entire store, 25% off, and this is it. This is the code you use right now through Sunday night, and of course, we have all the apparel, the He Is Him collection, the Priest Provider collection, all back this weekend only. Go pick it up. I'll see you over there, all right?